and welcome to our show for the love of animals. We're so glad you joined us today. All you dog and cat lovers, please gather around because we've got some important information for you. I'm Darlene Pickford.
And I'm Greg Bauer, and we want to tell the viewers about a couple of upcoming shows.
Okay.
We're going to take a look at bees,
Ooh.
of all things, and also an annual visit to the quilts for animal lovers, and I think our viewers will enjoy that.
Since we have the American Quilt Museum here in Paducah, Kentucky, right?
Right, exactly.
All right.
And a couple of things, just a little housekeeping thing.
Okay.
We are now on YouTube HD.
All right, high definition,
We're
wonderful.
coming up, and it'll make us look better, I guess. And secondly, some viewers have said that they've had a little trouble with the search engine for YouTube. And the best way to get to the show, the easiest way if you're going to look for it on YouTube, is to go to the college website, www.paducah2.org/video clips, no space, /animals, and you can go down to the list of our shows, and there will be a link there to YouTube. And so if you can't get channel 2 on the cable, you can see it on your computer. And you can also find it on Facebook if you search for Paducah 2. So a little bit of housekeeping for us. So what's on tap for today now, Darlene?
Well, we're going to do multi-cat households.
Okay.
All right?
Alrighty.
All right. How to have a peaceful multi-cat or dog household, right?
We won't guarantee it, but we give you some ideas that we think will help.
Okay. All right.
Our guest today is Judy Hardy, and she's familiar to many of you. She's the executive director of Creatures Great and Small, an animal shelter program here in Paducah. And Judy, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Judy, just tell us a little bit more about Creatures Great and Small.
Okay. We've established it in the year 2004, so I've been doing this about 9 years. We are a network of fosters. We don't have a shelter.
Okay,
so all the animals that we take in are in foster homes.
Okay.
So we are at our limit. We are over our limit probably. But what I do like about that idea is the fact that if it's in your house, then you know the animal well enough when you adopt it out that you can find the right home,
the appropriate
for it.
home.
You know, if it's good with cats or dogs or kids, or or if they like the male of the family or the female, because some animals don't.
Yes.
You know, they really have a problem with. So we know how to place the animal. So that's the good part. The bad part is we don't have enough fosters, but we are, really working on trying to get some more fosters to help us in that area.
So you don't have to maintain a physical shelter.
Right.
And so you put your efforts into supporting the fosters.
Exactly.
Through food,
And
providing vet
bills.
care, which I think is just wonderful.
And so far we've been able to meet those needs, without going broke. It seems like it always happens that we have the money to provide that for our fosters, which is great.
If you're a cat and you go into a shelter, there's less than a 20% chance that you're going to come out of that shelter. And you probably, despite the fact that you're in a shelter and they try, they're overworked and they don't get the attention. So the personality gets worse instead of better, right?
Exactly.
Which makes it less of a chance of getting adopted. So thanks to you, many a cat has had a chance at a second home. And I know you've got a pen at home, and we won't say how many cats are in that, but those are the ones that are harder to adopt, and we want to thank you for that. Well, now tell us, in addition to this, about your own fur family.
Okay, well, I have a fairly large fur family.
I'm sure.
But I probably have 9 cats I have in the house. 10 sometimes, because some of them are outdoor, indoor, like carpet. They tend, but I live out on a farm, so they are, pretty safe outside. And they just kind of hang around the house anyway till it's time to eat again. And basically all my cats get along very well. They really do.
How about dogs or other?
I have dogs as well. I won't go into those numbers, but it's a very large number too.
And horses, right?
Yes, I have horses. Yeah, I have lots to take care of. And but even with the dogs in my household, and the cats, I really, they really get along very well. Sometimes when I leave, I make sure that they're separated just because you know how things happen when you're not there. But
Yes.
as a
Wicked
rule,
is always crated when we leave.
yeah, as a rule, they really do fine.
Well, wonderful. Well, we're going to give our viewers hints about a multi-cat household, and we'll start with how do you introduce cats, a new cat, into a house that already has one or two cats?
Okay. What I do, now I know it's been said you can have a friend bring it in, so therefore the cats,
If it's
yeah, right.
so,
And-
then the cat won't resent
Right.
the owner
Right.
for the invasion of a new family member.
Right, but what I do, a lot of times I don't have a friend to introduce it to.
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes. So I will put the cat in a pet taxi and I will bring it into the house and put it in a separate room where there's no other animals. I have a spare bedroom that I use sort of to introduce the cats to each other. So normally I'll do that and I'll put, all the items that he needs to be comfortable. Of course, they're always going to hide, but I make sure there's nothing he can hide under, and we, that's how I started off.
Okay.
And then from then on, that'll last. Maybe I'll keep him there for a couple of days, and then maybe introduce one cat at a time to each one, so that they're not overwhelmed by a whole flux of
All right,
cats.
so in other words, you'll bring the cat that was there in the household to meet the new
Right,
cat in the new cat's room.
Right.
Okay.
And see, they can pick up the scent of the other cat, but yet they can't see it, because the door's closed. They can, sometimes they do their paws underneath the door.
Oh,
and
they play, yeah,
Yeah, they kind of play, and that kind of, it just introduces. And then when it gets to the point where I think he's okay, then I'll open the door, and, of course, all the animals won't go in, but maybe I'll let one or two cats, just come in and see how the reaction is. But as a rule, most all of them get along eventually. You know what I mean? They might hiss just for a little bit, but that's just because they're scared and don't know what's happening. But I mean, all of mine get along fine. Some don't really like each other that much. They're not pals, but they put up with each other. Sort of like people.
Yes.
So what you're saying is that you isolate them, let them get used to the smell, and then slowly introduce them
Right.
with boundaries.
Exactly.
And I guess supervision
Yes,
also.
definitely. I would never, and after I introduce them, then I don't just go off and leave them like
Right.
that. I make sure everything's going to be okay.
About how long would you leave them together? Half hour, an hour, 2 hours?
Yes, something like that. And unless they're getting along fine, then then I'll do it longer. But if there's a problem, I'll just do it gradually, a little bit every day, and kind of make it a little bit longer period of time each time.
How about play between the cats? Does that ever help to introduce them,
Oh,
distract them?
yes. A lot of times what you might do is get a treat that cats really like, and maybe feed the cat that you just brought in as well as the other cat
Yeah.
the treats. That way they're focusing their attention on the treats and not on each other.
Yeah.
And that kind of makes it
Distracts
a little bit,
the newness.
Right.
Okay. You could do the same thing with some kind of toy with a feather. That would-
Right, exactly. Yeah, when they play, they're not focusing on each other. So.
Okay. Well, how about if there's a dog in the house? How does the new cat meet the dog that is in the house?
Yeah. Well, I think it depends on whether the cat has been around dogs. Sometimes they've never been around a dog and they're
Yes.
completely traumatized. But there again, I use the pet taxi. I like to put the cat in the pet taxi, because that makes him feel like he's
Safe and secure.
And then the dogs can come up and smell the cat through the pet taxi door. And you see the reaction of what's happening. I have one particular dog that I have outside cats as well, and when he goes out, even I got a cat that came up that has not been at my place in my barn, and even those cats just come and circle around this dog, and they just lick him, and they
just
love
like the dog.
He's just so he's the first one I introduced the cats to, because I don't know, there's something about him that all the cats just love
How
this dog.
interesting.
Yes, I've never seen that before, but he's He's just an amazing
He's a
dog.
cat magnet.
Yes, he's a black lab too. But his name is Scaredy Cat. That may have something to do with it.
So he must be very gentle.
He's very gentle,
Yeah.
very gentle. So that would be the first one I'd introduce, and then the other dogs kind of learn from that. And my dogs have been around cats so much till they just say another cat's in the house. You know?
Yeah, I'm sure it's your place. I've also read though, if you're going to introduce a cat to a dog, make sure that the dog, if he's a high energy dog, make sure he's tired out and well fed.
Right, definitely.
For the first introduction.
Yes.
So that energy that might go into too much play or
Right.
aggression is kind
Right.
of subdued.
Right,
so.
and it would really upset the cat with him being so energetic around him, I'm sure. My daughter has a Weimaraner, and he is like a lab on crack, they call it. Because he
Really?
he's just wild. But he's sweet as he can be. We've never hurt a cat, but he is just really.
And certain dogs are much more high energy
Right.
than others. And also some dogs are much bigger and don't mean to in play, but could hurt, say, a
Yeah,
small kitten
exactly,
or something.
yes.
So I guess you have to be very, very careful. And again, the pet taxi idea would
Yes,
work wonders
yes,
there because it would
very
keep
much
them
so.
protected. So
Well, I'll tell you, we're getting an awfully good
Yes,
start on
we
this
are.
topic and getting a lot of great ideas, but we want to take a break now and
All right.
just a short, happy tale about a real sweet cat named Sundance. So give a listen.
This is Sundance. He was rescued from a shelter in Ohio. He then came to Paducah and got a home with a wonderful young lady who's going to school and lives alone. He sleeps all day while she's in class, and in the evenings, he lays on her notebooks and helps her with her homework. He has a wonderful new home.
Welcome back. We hope you enjoyed that little story about Sundance. And our guest this afternoon is Judy Hardy, who's the Executive Director of Creatures Great and Small, one of our local pet shelters here in Paducah. And Judy,
Fostering networks.
yes, fostering network. And Judy, how can our viewers get a little more information about you and your organization?
Or contact you to give you this great, enormous gift, or 5 new foster families.
Okay, well, Creatures Great and Small has a post office box, and
Okay.
it is 9173, Paducah, Kentucky,
Good for donations.
42002, very much so. And then we can be contacted by phone. The number is 270-495-0773. We also have an email address. It is creaturesgns@hotmail.com. And then our website is www.helpthecreatures.com. So any of those we can be reached.
I'm sure donations would be acceptable. And I have something here that Wicket wants to give those
Oh.
nice kitties out.
All right, thank
that
you.
we know that you have your cat houses. These are the harder to adopt or the older cats, and that's a treat for them. So
Well, thank you very much.
Wicket,
I'm sure
so
they'll
thank
enjoy-
you for that
Thank
donation.
you, Wicket.
Well, we talked about introducing cats to a multi-cat household. What kind of environment would you recommend? How can we make things go pleasant and well, both for the pet owners and for the cats and any other pets in the house?
Well, what I like to do is set up that particular room, when I first introduce him.
Right.
Make sure it has a nice, comfortable bed, food, water, a fresh litter pan, some toys. All those things are important for introducing the cat to a new home because it feels like it makes it homey for him, in other words, because he or she is going to be scared to death, for one thing.
Right.
But if they have a comfortable bed and something, and some nice food that they, usually I make it a food, maybe a treat or so, because it makes it very tempting. Some cats don't even want to eat because they're so scared. So.
Well, speaking of kitty beds, I thought, no, you brought us a
Yes.
kitty bed.
Yes, I
This
did.
would be one example, if you happened, that would really make a
Yes.
cat feel,
Right, safe and comfortable because it's that.
and it's washable.
It's washable and you can lay it down flat to put it up, so it's really nice. I have had, several try to get in something like this, and they're hanging out because they love it so much. But I've got several beds like this too, but they're really nice. I think that would be a very, like I said, especially a new cat, because he feels safe in something like this, you know.
So,
So.
okay, now let's say that the cats have been thoroughly introduced, and so everybody's getting along, and I've got, say, 3, 4, or even more cats. How should we handle the feeding and the water, and what suggestions would you give for now that we're all introduced? And,
Together, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when you have a lot of cats, I like to use some of the automatic waterers and the automatic feeders, because it's, when you're constantly putting food down, it's a little difficult. But we, the food problem, usually cats are pretty good about that. They don't fight over food as much as you would think, like dogs do, you know.
All right,
So, but I do several dishes, you know, several areas, different areas in the room where they could eat, you know.
They don't all eat out of the same
No,
big bowl?
no,
We don't want that,
No,
okay?
definitely not. I have several bowls around, and sometimes I personally, I'm still bad about giving them canned cat food.
Are you?
As a treat, not as a food, but as a treat. And I'll just put them on paper plates, let them eat them off the paper plates, and put the paper plates in the trash, and that saves the cleanup and that kind of stuff. So
It keeps the area clean
yes,
also.
it does. Yes, very much so.
But you would not recommend normally using wet cat food?
No,
Right,
no.
no.
This was just like a treat.
Right.
Yeah. I don't ever, the dry food is the main thing that we use.
Now, would you feed them all at the same time, or would you leave the food out, or not
The
make
food is, the dry food is out all the time.
That's what
Yes,
I do
yes.
with our multi-cats.
Yes, because all the cats don't eat at one time. Maybe they don't want it at the same time as they're. So I have cat food out all the time for the cats. Anytime they want it, it's there, you know.
Okay.
Unless they start getting really big, then I try to separate those. But normally they're, you know, they just eat a little bit and then they go and do something and come
Come back and
yeah.
eat again.
Right.
And so dry food, you wouldn't, it wouldn't spoil.
No, I would
like-
never leave wet food
I
out.
wouldn't
Like I
wet-
said, that was a treat, just
Uh-huh.
like a tablespoon for each cat. Sometimes it's a treat for them.
Okay. Now,
Or if I need them to take some kind of medicine or something, you know, it kind of, I usually mix it up in the
In the
canned
food.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes I do that with worming type pills that have to be crushed up
I never
into the
thought.
food. Yeah.
How about the litter boxes?
I have a lot of litter boxes. But I'm also home, so anytime that it's, you know, people that are not home and have multi-cats, it's pretty, you know, it'd be a pretty good job just dealing with that. But since I am home a lot, I mean, mine get cleaned and dumped several times a day, you know, because I'm there.
Yes.
But definitely you would, because a lot of cats don't want to use the same litter box that another cat has used. Sometimes they don't. You've got
They're picky,
very
aren't they?
finicky cats. Yes.
Yes.
And the recommendation is to have the number of cats for each one litter box
Yes.
plus
Plus
one.
one.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And where would you place them? All in the same, side by side, or in different places in the house?
I
or-
do different places because there's a lot of times it just works out better. I find, you know, that if you put them in different places.
And if you have an older cat, it's hard sometimes for that older cat to go
So
from
go
one
and
end of the,
find it. Yes.
go from one end of the house to the other.
Exactly.
So you definitely, and I would recommend not putting one in your guest bathroom, not putting one in your guest bedroom.
That's right.
Okay, because
When
then
you have guests.
yes, you've got to move it,
And then they don't know where it is.
and
yes.
you might find it. Yeah,
Yes.
right.
Yes. Exactly.
So that's why you want to think about placing them permanently. So
Right.
you know, you don't want them close to your dining room table.
No.
like-
I have mine separated from my house. I have a fairly big house, so I have like rooms assigned just for cats and stuff, you
Yeah,
know,
we-
for that. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you're not fortunate enough to have an extra room, the
Yeah.
point is, don't put it someplace where you're not going to probably have to move it.
Right. I think that was a good idea.
Yeah.
Sure.
And if you do work, what you may have to do is maybe scoop them before you go to work, and if possible, after.
Yeah.
I've noticed my cats, they really, the morning is when,
Yeah.
you know, because you
Right.
know how cats play and do
Yeah.
their, at night. So I found that during the day, it doesn't get filled as much as it does overnight, so.
Yes.
Okay. How about toys for them?
They have abundance of toys that I have for them. Some of them play with toys and some of them could care less. You know,
Exactly.
the older ones are just, I think they were born just to sleep and eat, you know.
And curl up on your lap,
Yeah,
lay by the
exactly,
fireplace.
Exactly. But then some of the young ones really, really do play a lot. But mine are getting, sort of middle-aged cats now.
Ours are
I don't
getting to
have
be
any young
senior
ones.
age.
Yeah.
So ours are sleeping on my lap a lot.
Right. And it's amazing because I tell people how many cats I have in my house sometimes, and they said, "Well, I don't ever see any," because when somebody comes in, they're gone. They're in the closet or somewhere they're hiding.
Mine will come out to greet you.
Well, mine, some of mine will, but some of them won't. But like I said, when you have that many, it just seems like some of them just nobody ever sees them. But.
How about the importance of being up high?
Oh, yes, definitely. They love that. I guess it's a security issue. And a window is always wonderful for a cat because they always like to look out the window and see what's going on, especially if they're an indoor cat and not able to go out at all. So
If you watch the Animal Planet, when they talk about the cats, they'll always say, give them a place to get up high.
yes, that's their safety.
Yeah, get them by a window. I've heard that in many of their shows, and so you want to have as many shelves and places for them, quote, to get up high, because
Right.
that's where they are secure. You want to get them out from underneath the bed.
Sure,
So,
sure.
Well, we want to take a short break now because
Already?
well, I'll tell you, just so we can absorb all this good information that we're
Yes.
getting from you, Judy, and I want to listen to a happy tale about a cat named Prince Valiant.
All right.
And so give a listen.
Prince Valiant was left at a local Shell food mart. One of the employees came out for a break and found him sitting in a carrier out in the parking lot. They called Creatures Great and Small, and Judy went and picked him up. Then she adopted him out. Now his new family says he is so spoiled. He thinks he should sit on the countertops and watch the dogs play. He only eats Pounce treats and will let you know when he's ready for them by pawing at the cabinet door where they're kept.
Welcome back. We hope you're getting a great deal of good information this afternoon about multi-cat households from our guest Judy Hardy, who's Executive Director of Creatures Great and Small. And let's continue on with our discussion then, Darlene.
All right, Greg, before we get back to Judy, we want to tell our viewers how they can get more information about how to have a peaceful multi-cat household.
Okay.
One of the sources is catchannel.com, which is sponsored by Cat Fancy Magazine. And another is Twisted Whiskers, which is written by Pamela Johnson, who is now Pamela Johnson Bennett. Any book by Pamela Johnson book is a good cat book.
By
Okay?
Pamela Johnson Bennett, not Pamela
I'm
Johnson
sorry.
book.
Pamela Johnson Bennett, excuse me, I'm corrected. You can get this one at the McCracken County Library. It won't cost you a thing. You can check it out. And she just has wonderful information about multi-cat households. Many of the ideas that we're expressing here and that Judy is, comes from similar or the same ideas. So catchannel.com and any book by Pamela Johnson Bennett. Okay.
And many of the ideas that we're also talking about today have coming from direct experience.
Oh, from
with this
Judy's,
situation.
yes.
Judy has 9 and we have 10.
Yeah. And most of ours, except one, we are seniors at our
I need
place.
to bring y'all another one.
No. Angie, our little handicap kitty, is only, 3.5, so
Oh, no, she's closer to 5.
is she closer to 5 now?
Yes.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Time
Pa-
passes fast when you're having fun, so.
Right. Okay.
All right, Judy, we've talked about introducing, we've talked about the good environment. How would you handle aggression if it were developed all of a sudden or, anytime? How would you handle aggression between cats?
Well, first of all, I'd like to separate them before they get to the point of
Right.
aggression. But if they, you start a fight, you definitely don't want to try to break it up with your physical hand or anything,
Okay.
because I've tried that.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't work too
We
good.
have wounds to prove it, right?
But, a loud noise or something to distract them where you can separate the two.
Either-
And like you say, some cats, I've had 1 or 2 in my lifetime that they just don't accept. Some cats, they may accept maybe, a cat that they, for some reason, they just don't like another cat. I
Right.
don't know what it is, but, so those, they just need to be separated.
Yeah.
You don't need to put them together because
One's
it's-
upstairs, one's
yeah,
downstairs.
Yeah, you just have to, improvise
Uh-huh.
on that part.
So a loud noise would separate them, and then I guess after that, what would you do? Just kind of reintroduce them all over again?
Yeah, probably. You can't expect a cat to automatically like a cat in just a
Right.
matter of a day or so.
Right.
So it takes patience and kindness and time for that to work out, and that's something you can't hurry. You just got to work with them and maybe just, like I said, distract the cats or put them a nice treat or feed them maybe, not right at the same bowl but together. Just make sure that, and see if that causes them to bond or anything like that.
And one other thing that helps too, along with that loud noise, is a squirt bottle of water.
Yes,
yeah.
definitely. We use that with the dogs.
Squirt
a
bottle
lot.
of water.
Yeah, at our
Good.
adoptions, we definitely have to use that to keep them from barking sometimes. But yeah, that is a good idea.
You brought some stress reducers. You had 2 products there.
Yeah.
I think one you told me was the diffuser, and the other was
Yes.
a Bach.
Yes, this is the diffuser. And
Okay.
it plugs in, and of course, the scent of it calms the cat. And then this,
That's a colloidal silver.
this is the rescue remedy, and that is also for stress relief for pets.
So if and you might also have these out when you're introducing them too.
Sure,
right?
yeah,
Right.
that would make a big difference
Right.
in that kind of stuff.
Now
the
the-
environment would definitely play a part in how
Now
we
the
do.
the Bach remedy, you put that in the water, right?
Yes,
So that would be
Yes.
easy to do.
That would be easy because you don't have to force them to take it, because that would probably cause another problem. But
So in other words, there are, and something I've just learned about, we've had some urinary tract infections, and you want to reduce the stress, when they have
Yes.
those. And I didn't know that you can have cats on Prozac. Now, through a vet now.
Yeah.
But that makes them calmer and reduces the stress, particularly when they've had health problems or in our case, urinary tract infection with the ensuing problems
Right.
of urinary
I
tract
think
infection.
I'll take a Prozac and get the cat one.
But now you do have to go through your vet,
Yeah,
and this
yeah,
is a
I have
pharmacy.
heard that they. Matter of fact, I think I had one of my dogs on Prozac or something. I
Yeah,
think I
and
did
it can
one
be
time.
pill form or either a cream form.
Yeah, I
which
didn't
is
know about the cream.
the cream form. Yeah, I'm learning. So
Yeah.
that's something else that. So there are all kind of stress relievers out
Right,
there.
it is.
So
In closing, Darlene, it just
I
goes
know
so by
time
quickly.
passes so fast, Greg.
We want to tell our viewers,
I'm Darlene.
I'm Greg, and give your pet a little extra love today.
And every day.
See you next time.
Bye.